They tried to bury him. They speared him twice on the grandest stage of them all. They spat on him. They left him lying on the WrestleMania floor like a piece of garbage while Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker hugged at the top of the ramp smiling like they had already won the war. And you know what? For 2 days, it looked like they had. But tonight on Monday Night Raw, the night after WrestleMania, Seth Rollins walked back into that arena, and he did something that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. And when it was over, Bron Breakker was flat on his back, staring up at the lights, wondering what in the hell just happened to him. Drop a comment right now, just type he's back, because what Seth Rollins just did to Bron Breakker on Raw is the single most satisfying piece of pro wrestling television we have seen in months, and if you leave this video before I break it all the way down, I promise you will regret it. Let's go. Segment 1: The context, why this moment hits so differently. To understand why tonight was so monumental, you have to go all the way back. Not to last night. Not to WrestleMania. You have to go back to October 2025, to the moment that started all of this. Seth Rollins had just beaten Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel to unify the championships. He was on top of the world. He was the visionary. He was the guy in WWE. The man who had clawed and scratched and bled his way to the absolute peak of this industry. And then in one of the coldest, most calculated acts of betrayal we have seen in years, Bron Breakker speared him. Right there on Raw. Out of nowhere. No warning. No mercy. Just a freight train of a spear that turned Seth Rollins' world completely upside down. And then Bronson Reed piled on with the tsunami. And then Bron stood over him holding the World Heavyweight Championship, the title Seth had just bled for, with Paul Heyman standing behind him wearing that disgusting smirk that only Paul Heyman can wear. That wasn't just a turn. That was a statement. Bron Breakker looked at the man who built the vision from the ground up, the man who brought him in, the man who made him relevant on the main roster, and he decided, I don't need you anymore. I'm the next big thing, and you are in my way. Seth Rollins needed surgery because of that attack. A legitimate shoulder injury, torn rotator cuff that kept him off television for months. While he was gone, Bron Breakker and the Vision ran wild. Logan Paul and Austin Theory captured the tag titles. The Vision dominated Raw. They did it all without Seth. And that's exactly what Bron wanted. He didn't just want to hurt Seth. He wanted to erase him. He wanted everyone to see that the Vision didn't need its founder. That Bron Breakker was bigger than Seth Rollins could ever be. For a little while, and I mean just a little while, it almost looked like he was right. Segment 2: The return, the WrestleMania betrayal, and the gasoline. Seth Rollins came back at the Elimination Chamber. And the moment that mask came off, the building went absolutely nuclear. He wasn't just back. He came back with a mission. A purpose. A righteous, burning, all-consuming rage that every single person in that arena could feel through their television screens. He spent the next several weeks making it known he was going to make every single member of the Vision pay. Starting with Bron Breakker. But WWE had other plans, at least for WrestleMania. With Bron still rehabbing from his hernia surgery, WWE pivoted and booked Seth Rollins against Gunther at WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas. Now listen, that was a great match. Seth Rollins and Gunther tore the house down at Allegiant Stadium. It was physical. It was brutal. It was old school and grimy, and everything a WrestleMania main event should be. Seth Rollins had that match won. He hit Gunther with a pedigree on the announce table. He hit his stomp. The crowd was on their feet. Seth Rollins was this close to the biggest WrestleMania win of his career. And then out of nowhere a freight train came flying down that entrance ramp. Bron Breakker. Fresh back from injury. Moving like a man possessed. He hit Seth Rollins with the most vicious, most devastating spear you have ever seen in your entire life. The kind of spear that makes your stomach drop. The kind of impact that you feel in your chest even sitting at home watching it on your couch. Seth crumpled. Gunther finished the job with the sleeper hold. And as Seth Rollins faded out and the referee waved it off, Bron Breakker was already running back up that ramp, only to stop, look back, and see Seth moving. And that right there is when Bron made the mistake that defined this entire rivalry. He ran back down that ramp. All the way from the top of the WrestleMania stage in front of 60,000 people, and he speared Seth Rollins for a second time. Even harder than the first. And then he stood over him, looked him dead in the eyes, and said the words that have been echoing through wrestling circles for the last 48 hours. Should have put me down. He spat at Seth Rollins' feet. He walked back up to Paul Heyman. They hugged. And WrestleMania 42 ended with Seth Rollins broken on the floor, Gunther the winner, and Bron Breakker and the Vision standing tall. That was Saturday night. That was 48 hours ago. And then came tonight. Segment 3: Tonight on Raw. What actually happened? The Raw after WrestleMania. The hottest crowd of the entire calendar year. Las Vegas still buzzing from the night before. These fans wanted blood. And Seth Rollins gave it to them. He came out early in the show. No music yet, just silence, and then that iconic fire hit and the entire arena erupted. Seth walked down that ramp and you could see it in his eyes immediately. This was not the Seth Rollins who shows up to cut promos and hype the crowd. This was a man walking into battle. He grabbed the microphone, and what he said next was nothing short of a manifesto. He talked about Bron Breakker. He talked about how he brought that man up, how he shared his spotlight, his connections, his name, his credibility, all of it with Bron Breakker because he believed in him. He saw something in Bron that nobody else saw. And in return, Bron speared him, stole his world title reign, and then had the audacity, the unbelievable, unforgivable audacity to show up at WrestleMania and cost him the biggest match of his year. And then Seth said something that stopped the entire arena cold. He said, "I'm not out here to talk. I'm out here because Bron Breakker is in this building. And before this show is over he's going to regret every single decision he has ever made." The crowd lost its mind. Now, Bron Breakker, because he is young and arrogant and apparently has a very short memory, made his way out to the ring. With that swagger, that cocky little smirk, that chest-puffed, look-at-me energy that says, "I am the next big thing in this industry and there is nothing you can do about it." He got in Seth's face, and he reminded him very loudly and very publicly that he beat him, that the Vision beat him, that Gunther beat him, that Seth Rollins had lost, and that this was Bron Breakker's era now. And Seth Rollins just smiled. Not the nervous smile. Not the "I'm trying to hide that I'm rattled" smile. The real one. The dangerous one. The Seth Rollins smile that, if you've been watching this man for any length of time, you know means something very bad is about to happen to someone. And then it happened so fast that half the arena didn't even register it in real time. Seth dropped the mic. He grabbed Bron by the back of the head. He threw him into the corners so hard the ring post shook. He started unloading lefts, rights, a running forearm that nearly took Bron's head off. Bron tried to get his footing, tried to muscle up and reverse, but Seth was faster. He was angrier. He was fighting with 7 months of rage and humiliation fueling every single strike. He whipped Bron across the ring, hit the sling blade. Bron staggered. Seth bounced off the ropes curb stomp, right in the middle of the ring. Bron Breakker face first into the canvas, completely unconscious. The crowd detonating like a bomb had gone off inside that arena. But Seth wasn't done. He dragged Bron back to his feet, which took everything out of him because this is Bron Breakker we're talking about. 280 pounds of the most athletic human being in professional wrestling today, and he hit a second curb stomp. The arena went from loud to something beyond loud. Something you can't describe with words. Something primal. Seth stood over Bron Breakker the way Bron had stood over him at WrestleMania. He didn't spit. He didn't smile. He just stared down at him, and then he picked up the mic one more time. And he said quietly this time, which made it 10 times more terrifying, "We're just getting started." Then he dropped the mic, stepped over Bron Breakker's body, and walked back up the ramp without looking back. The crowd gave him a standing ovation that lasted 3 full minutes. Segment 4: Why this rivalry is must-see television for the next 6 months. Now here is what I need you to understand, and this is the part of the video where I need you to actually think with me for a second, not just react. What we witnessed tonight was not just a feel-good moment. It was not just the babyface getting his revenge pop. What we witnessed tonight was the official ignition of what could legitimately be the defining rivalry of 2026 in professional wrestling. And here is why. First, the personal history. This is not Rollins versus some random opponent. Bron Breakker owes everything he is on the main roster to Seth Rollins. The Vision was Seth's creation. Seth gave Bron the platform. Seth elevated him. And Bron turned around and stabbed him in the back. That kind of storyline, when it is executed properly, creates icons. It created Rollins himself back in 2014 when he turned on the Shield. It is the oldest and most emotionally resonant story in professional wrestling: the student who destroys the teacher. Second, the physical contrast. Seth Rollins is 38 years old. Bron Breakker is 27. They are completely different types of performers. Seth is the master craftsman. Every move has a reason, every moment is calculated, every gesture is designed to make you feel something. Bron is the sledgehammer, raw, explosive, terrifyingly powerful, a force of nature that you simply cannot prepare for. When these two get in a ring together, it is not going to be pretty. It is going to be a war. And wars in professional wrestling are what make careers. Third, and this is the one that nobody is really talking about yet: Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is the most dangerous man in WWE management, and right now he is firmly behind Bron Breakker. Think about what that means. Paul Heyman has been the architect of the biggest moments in this business for the last 20 years. He was behind Lesnar. He was behind Reigns. He was even behind Rollins for a period of time. Every single person Paul Heyman has fully committed to has become a generational star. If he is all in on Bron Breakker, then the resources of the Vision, Logan Paul's money, Austin Theory's cunning, Heyman's genius are all pointed directly at Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is walking into this war alone. No stable. No allies. Just a microphone, a pair of boots, and that terrifying curb stomp that has ended careers. This is either the beginning of Seth Rollins' most legendary chapter, the great veteran who refuses to go quietly into the night, or it is the story of how Bron Breakker truly became the guy in WWE by defeating the man who built the throne he wants to sit on. Either way, I cannot lose. And neither can you. Segment 5: The real question: who wins this war? Let me give you my take. And I want you to fight me in the comments. I genuinely want to know where you stand on this. I think Seth Rollins needs to win this rivalry. Not because Bron needs to be buried. Bron is going to be fine regardless of what happens. But because the story demands it. The narrative logic is airtight. You cannot tell the story of the mentor versus the ungrateful student and have the student win clean. Not yet. Not when we are still this close to the betrayal. Not when the emotional investment of every fan in that building is firmly behind Seth Rollins. The payoff, the moment when Seth hits that final curb stomp and pins Bron Breakker clean in the middle of the ring at SummerSlam, or wherever this ends up, that moment needs to exist. It needs to happen. Because that is the exclamation point that this entire saga has been building to since October 2025. Then after Seth gets his win, after justice is served, then you can rebuild Bron Breakker as the unstoppable monster heel. You can book him to go through everyone on the roster. You can give him the world title. You can do all of that. Because he will have earned it by going through Seth Rollins. But if WWE shortcuts this and gives Bron the win too soon, if they have him go over Seth clean before this story has reached its proper conclusion, then they will have wasted the best rivalry setup they have had since the Shield exploded, and that would be nothing short of a creative crime. Let me know in the comments, who do you think wins this? Seth gets his revenge? Or does Bron prove that this is truly his era? Drop it below. I am reading every single one. Outro: call to action. Look, what happened on Raw tonight was the kind of moment that reminds you exactly why you watch professional wrestling. It was raw. It was emotional. It was personal. And it was the beginning of something that could genuinely be special if WWE lets it breathe and builds it properly. Seth Rollins just sent a message to the entire locker room. He sent a message to Bron Breakker. He sent a message to Paul Heyman and the Vision. And he sent a message to every single person in that arena and everyone watching at home. He is not done. And honestly, neither are we. If this video got your blood pumping, if you felt what I felt watching Seth Rollins stand over Bron Breakker tonight, then smash the like button right now, because this channel is going to be all over this rivalry every single step of the way. Subscribe if you are new here. We cover Raw, SmackDown, every PLE, every major moment, every hot take, every breakdown. This is Ring Rumble 1. We do not miss. Share this video with your wrestling friends, your group chats, your Discord servers, your timeline. Because the people who are not watching this rivalry unfold in real time are going to be very, very sorry they missed it. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Stay locked in. Stay loud. Ring Rumble 1 out.